541-1741. Call Gulfstream Motorsports for a diminished value report. Due to 28 years experience in the auto salvage business, I'm very good with wrecks. So if your car's been involved in a wreck, call me for a diminished value report. Call 727-541-1741. You may be owed some money for the lost value of your repaired vehicle. And visit us at GulfstreamMotorsports.com.
This is the TAN Talk Radio Network.
Welcome to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner, licensed mental health counselor in the state of Florida. Moments of Clarity's mission is to educate and end the stigma on mental health through the inspirational stories of our exceptional guests. You can join in the show by calling Tiffany toll-free at 866-826-1340 or on Facebook and Twitter at MOC with Tiffany. Now, here's Tiffany Werner.
Hello and welcome to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. My name is Tiffany Werner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor and I'm your host. And today is the day before Christmas Eve. And what a wonderful thing to celebrate, as well as my heart goes out to those that are grieving or suffering in silence as well, or doing last minute shopping. That's what Cyber Monday is for. We're trying a little something different on our restream for watching virtually. And if you're not, you can be at youtube.com/MOC with Tiffany. So this is Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. My name is Tiffany Werner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor and I'm your host. And today we're going to be talking about living with a chronic illness. It's invisible, and because it's not seen, a lot of people think, well, it's not that bad, or maybe they're faking, or malingering is a clinical term for that. And, or maybe the sympathy or compassion is not there like it should be, even though those that are suffering in pain in silence aren't looking for that as much. My beautiful guest here is a returning guest from years ago, and she was really brave when she was 16 and she was on the show, and now she's 22. And before I formally introduce her, I'd like to say hi to Ed. And let me see. Ed, how are you today?
And happy Friday, I think.
Let me see
I don't need to go on the camera. I'm there, but
yes, you do.
There I am.
I just had to figure this out because it's a little different setup. But
well, in all fairness, I was 30 years old when we started. Now I'm 35. So
me too. Yeah. No, not quite, but on my way.
Everything good in there?
Yeah, just good. Hot. Like in
I tried to inform her she has a sweater on.
Okay.
And we got to, you know what?
I love how you like to roast me, but in my defense.
You're roasting yourself. I mean, look, you dress for the North. I mean, we don't live in Buffalo.
Have you seen the news? They're waiting for a freeze to come our way.
I know, but that's tomorrow. What is that going to do for you today when it's 65?
I like to plan ahead.
Okay.
Except for being on time. Sometimes I'm,
Well, then everything's set up in there. You look great on camera. It's a perfect angle. There's no echo.
No.
Yeah, how about that?
No.
Anyway.
I got to say, that's a jab at me because we had one last week, and if I would have remembered the password to log in to Ed's format, there wouldn't have been one. We learn as we go, and we're going to have a show on learning from our mistakes and having them be opportunities of learning. Teachable moments, things of that nature. If we make the same mistake over and over again, that's kind of the definition of insanity, as long as we expect a different result every time.
I was going to say, it's not a mistake if you keep doing the same thing.
Well, doing something over and over again, expecting a different result.
No longer a mistake.
No, it's just being, I don't know. You're going to make me say something I don't want to say.
It works for me. It works for me.
Aren't you glad you're in the studio, Heather? You get to see Ed and his. I'm so glad to be back in the studio again, Ed, and how I missed the commentary, because when you're virtual, he kind of just gets off the camera, and then there's not this like back and forth roasting because he's not actually seeing me. I have to get back on my game of what my comebacks with him. It won't take long.
All right, there you
I
go.
have pictures. I have proof. 8 years almost. Anyway, so my guest today is a survivor, was born with something called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and we'll just call it EDS as well. And it's an often misunderstood and misdiagnosed chronic illness that is very painful, very hard to detect, because not one person is the same when diagnosed with something along these lines. And most of the time, and I have several friends that have been diagnosed with this, and none of them have the exact same symptoms, but they do go through a lot of very, very painful things where doctors assume it's something else, or not assume, maybe, what's the word, diagnosed, but prognosis, things like that, of it to be one thing when it's completely something else. And it's really hard to understand. And then doctors, anyway, I'll just let you talk. And we're not going to only just go into EDS, but what it's like to be born with something like this, go through middle school, high school. And I'm so honored to say, and I'm going to be the spoiler alert, that Heather here has gone through some really, really, really tough stuff. And I'm a friend of the family, known them at least a decade, watched her go through a lot of this, and she's a hero in so many ways. Welcome to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Heather McDonald.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you a bell every day just because it's right there.
Okay.
But
right.
Welcome to Moments of Clarity. So let's start from the beginning and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
And when you found your moment of clarity, like, I can do this kind of deal.
Okay. So I'm Heather. I'm 22 right now. I'm in college, returning after a break in the semester. But I was diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome when I was 16. When I was younger, a lot of my symptoms were attributed to my ADHD, actually.
And depression and things like that.
Yeah.
I think that's when you got your diagnosis, but you had several symptoms.
Oh, yeah.
To the point where you would roll over in the middle of the night and wake up with a dislocated jaw, or you just never know what would wake up. And you weren't in a wheelchair at the time either.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of things have happened since I was last on here. But
But I mean, I don't know if everyone's heard the show from 2017. So let's keep going.
Let's keep going.
Let's start over.
Okay, gosh. Forgetting everything about myself.
When I was born,
Oh,
no,
yes.
I'm just kidding. When I was a young girl, I started to feel symptoms such as?
I started to have symptoms like I remember I had really bad growing pains, but they just never went away. I had a lot of pain when I was learning to write, when you would like copy the letters and write them over and over again. I had a lot of hand pain with that. And just I had a lot of other symptoms, and nobody really understood why I keep spraining my ankles, or like I broke my arm twice in the exact same way. Like nobody understood. Yeah.
You were trick-or-treating with your friends in high school, middle school, and sprained your ankle so easily, and they gave you a hard time thinking you were faking or attention seeking or something like that.
Yeah,
I remember
which is
that.
like it's so funny because they were there for most of my morning symptoms. So I don't know, weird.
Yeah, middle school kids.
Middle school's
whatever,
rough.
but But besides that, so it started that early, and severe things started happening, even though it was not, you couldn't, not even though severe things started happening.
Yeah.
And people were just saying, oh my gosh, maybe you should try yoga. Maybe you should start stretching more. Maybe you should eat better. People thought you had an eating disorder because your digestive system wasn't working the right way.
Yeah.
And so forth.
Yeah. And that's kind of when I was about 16. I missed the entire year of 10th grade. I was doing hospital homebound schooling because I lost a lot of weight due to digestive system issues, and I lost muscle. And with EDS, your connective tissue, like your ligaments and tendons and all of that, is weaker. So without my muscle there, things started dislocating more frequently, and it just kind of opened the floodgates. And it took a while to get diagnosed, even with like me dislocating my jaw 3 times in a week. And yeah, it took far too long to get diagnosed. I will say, since the last time I was on here, which was around that time, there's been a lot more research, a lot more intervention, and my type of Ehlers-Danlos is no longer considered rare, which is good, but it's still frequently missed. So they're working on doing some research studies right now into my type, because it's the only type without a genetic test. So things have improved somewhat, which is good. But there's still a lot of misunderstanding, and yeah.
So it's definitely something I've seen you struggle with throughout the years, not only as a young girl, which you're still a young lady, but at the same time as a teenager.
Yeah.
And then growing up through that, through COVID, through trying to get through college, adjusting to going back to high school in a wheelchair after people had said, she's making this up and everything.
Yeah, and they continued to say that again when a lot of them were present for, me spraining my ankle like however many times in a year and stuff, which was really disappointing, I guess. I think there's a lot of premature judgment, especially when people have poorly understood or misunderstood diagnoses. A lot of people will make assumptions like that. And a lot of times I think they don't realize just how harmful it is, because you can be wrong.
Right. I'm trying to fix the sound on my... But you had to believe in yourself and get through those people that were saying, just try yoga. Maybe it's your diet. Maybe you should eat more. Whatever. Yeah. Everyone has opinions on everything, but not everyone's a medic. And meanwhile, you're sitting there and suffering in pain.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think of exactly when my moment of clarity was, because I feel like I've had I feel like I've had
okay,
several.
So I think we're having like a one of those time to go to a break moments, because when we were planning the show, we couldn't shut up about everything you wanted to share, and then we're like, but then I'm distracted because I think I'm echoing. So let's go to our break, and we'll be back with Moments of Clarity in just a moment. So please stay tuned.
Yoke.
You're listening to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner. We welcome your input at 866-826-1340. Tiffany will be right back after this.
This is the TAN Talk Radio Network.
Hello, my name is Lucy Lopes, and I'm a real estate agent that supports ending the stigma on mental health with Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. I am also passionate about helping you buy or sell your home. With times being so difficult, I'm here to help. Contact me at lucylopes.com. That's LUCYLOPES.com. Let me assist you through this pandemic and know that you are not alone.
Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Warner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one.
Are you looking for a great book? If you like to root for the underdog, Joe Potosi's book is a book for you. A real American Odyssey that will grab your attention with its fast-moving narrative. You won't be able to put this masterpiece down. When the Dust Settled by Joe Potosi. Go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or Zulin Press.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
We are back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner. To join in the discussion, call 866-826-1340. Now, here's Tiffany Warner.
Hello and welcome back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. My name is Tiffany Warner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor and I'm your host. And today we're talking about living with an invisible chronic illness. It's just as bad as mental health, and a lot of people think, well, this too shall pass, or they take physical impairment a little bit more seriously than mental health, which a lot of them go hand in hand. And my guest today has been born with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is now becoming more significantly understood and diagnosed. But for years, no one wanted to diagnose it, right? And it was just untreated and unable to be treated because they were not diagnosing the right thing. So my friend here, this beautiful young lady here, I've known as a family friend for a very long time and watched her grow into this powerful young woman that, and I've asked her the one thing to please dummy down the medical terms. So anyway, welcome back to Moments of Clarity, Heather McDonald.
Hi. Okay.
Okay, so what we were talking about before when we were planning to do the show, there's a lot of people that suffer with chronic illness. You know, that whenever I try to relate to you, when we're talking just as friends, and I say how I was planning to run a marathon, I was training for one, and then I got in a 6-car pileup, and my back is broken. Well, I'm up for a spinal surgery if I ever decide to do that in 2 places, which is painful. But when talking to someone like Heather, you kind of feel like, well, not only am I preaching to the choir, but I'm talking to someone who not only gets it, but is probably looking at me like I stubbed a toe, you know. But she's never been like that. She's really kind and compassionate.
I do have something to say about that.
Okay.
So I will say one thing I've noticed, well, in the chronic illness community, I've noticed it sometimes, which is just, it's one of the few downsides, but I think comparison is only like holding us back, I guess, because it's all kind of relative and everybody's struggles are valid, even if like there will always be someone who has it worse than you, but that doesn't invalidate what you're going through at all.
Oh, and that could be a moment of clarity right there, right? I mean, everyone has something. Like, things could always be worse.
Yes.
And things could be better, though, too. But it's how we handle our situation that defines our character. So, yes, it could be worse, but still it doesn't mean that we can't validate what you're going through right now. I want to welcome callers to call in, 866-826-1340, 866-826-1340. And if you have anything to say or feedback, to give to Heather, or maybe you're going through your own stuff, 866-826-1340. And let's see. You have been going through a lot, and even so, and I have some pictures and everything like that, that has been not only on top of everything, but where it just kept adding up. Like recently, do you want to talk about that?
Yes. So I am about, oh gosh, how many months ago was August? However many, I can't count.